Hi gang, I am back again to look at a brand new game, and this time out it is Talon from GMT Games, designed by Jim Krohn, and this is a game of Starfleet battles. Ooh, maybe I shouldn't say that. Space fleet battles, possibly? First off, I want to apologize. I have been out of action for quite some time with a bout of pneumonia, and now it is bronchitis, and my voice is not exactly the strongest it's ever been. But, regardless, let's see what we've got with Talon. And this game is for 2 to 6 players, and each of them is going to control a variety of different starships. 2 different fleets are battling it out, the humans, the Terrans, as well as the Talon fleet, which are the aliens. And as we can see, if I move the box a little bit, the ships are represented by counters with various different indicators on them as well. This is a low complexity game as far as GMT goes. And they also indicate that it has very high solitaire suitability. So let's get this open here. This is a pretty hefty box too. So first off, we've got some 6-sided dice, some baggies for the counters, and some dry erase markers. Because my understanding is that the counters for the ships are coded so that you can mark them as they take damage and wipe them off when you're through. I believe there's also some fleet logs that you can utilize as well if you don't want to be marking the counters. We've got the rules of play, and as we can see, the rules of play are pretty short. Give us a little bit of background, talks about the components, talking about the various counters, the ships, and what each of these indicators are. We've got some shields, the class of the ship, fire arc of the weapons, and it talks about the log sheets, informational markers, sequence of play, impulse display and initiative, ships and ship properties, firing arc and shield arc, power curve, movement and turning, and as we can see, there's a lot of examples of play throughout this as well. Firing, damage, the power phase, batteries and afterburners. Interestingly enough, when I first saw some of the information about Talon online, one of the first games that popped into my head was the old Task Force games, and you're probably thinking Starfleet Battles, but no, I was thinking more of Starfire. You're going to have to be old school to remember the Starfire system from Task Force games, and it was loads of fun. It was a very cool game, and it was actually, if memory serves me correctly, that's kind of where Starfleet Battles got its inspiration. Anyway, but we're talking about Talon. So we've got bases, the big guns, docking and landing, asteroids, black holes, some designer notes. And as we can usually expect from our friends at GMT, we get a playbook, which are always awesome. Of course, this is going to have our scenarios in it, and kind of talk more about how to play the game. There's transports, multiplayer games. Here are the scenarios. A little bit of artwork after the battle. So we've got 4 scenarios so far. 5, 6. There was a 7th. Hot, missed it. 8, 9, 10. 12. There's a dozen scenarios, information about how to design your scenarios, and then you can put together the scenarios as a campaign game. Battle modes. Talking about terrain in space, asteroids, things like that. Empire War mode. Just kind of flipping through. Crew experience in the campaign. Ship design and fleet doctrines. And I believe we're probably going to see, yep, an extended example of play. These are always great because they really show you how to play a GMT game. And they come in really, really handy. And as you can see, there's quite a bit on that example of play. Now we've got an advanced play example here. Must be utilizing some of the advanced rules. But as we saw, the rules of play, really, if we boil it down, are probably about 10 pages or so. Lifetime scores, Empire Warship list, ship charts, and research chart. These must be the fleet logs that I was talking about if you don't want to be marking up your counters. Looks like we've got a player aid chart for the Talons. An Empire War mat for the Talon Empire. Impulse track. Well, we're getting into some of the counters now. These are just, no doubt, the informational counters, dual-sided. And then here we have the ships, and as you can see, these counters are pretty large. Zooming in, the Napoleon, the Thor, the Patton. The Wasp. They're also fighters. But you have to keep in mind that this game is really going to be about big capital ships slugging it out. It is not really focused on fighter combat. And we've got the Talon Empire. And I see the backs are blank. I guess maybe you have some fog of war. It's like a base here. Yep, sure is. And then we've got the mounted maps. And I'm sure they're going to be pretty similar, so we're only going to open one up. And it's in a Ziploc bag, too. And since there's counters for the bases and that, I'm guessing that the maps are just going to end up being empty space. Pretty cool. I've heard some really good things about this game. So, of course, you're going to want to keep your eyes peeled for our upcoming review. So there's good news and there's bad news as far as Talon. Some of the good news is the MSRP on this for a GMT game that's pretty packed with goodies is pretty low. It's $59. The bad news is it's currently out of stock at GMT. So you will have to take a peek at your friendly local gaming store or online to check for the availability of Talon. I do know that the reprint of Talon is currently up on the GMT website. So you can also get on board, pre-order it that way. But of course, if you can, you'll want to try to find it in a store so you can get it into your hot gaming hands as soon as possible. So there we have everything that's in the box for Talon from GMT. Once again, this is Jeff McAleer. Be sure to swing by thegaminggang.com for all of the latest in gaming and comics and movies and TV news and reviews. And if you like our videos, be sure to become one of our patrons on our Patreon page. Until next time, thanks for watching.